Good evening from Yami TV. Wishing you all well, of course. Now, I'm going to do my best with all the knowledge I stored with the people I met over 40 years of institutions, as you know. And I'm also going back to the place where I grew up as a little boy, which was Ladbroke Grove and Notting Hill. Remember, I was born in Bow Road, East London, at the sound of Bow Bells on January the 1st, but moved to Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill Gate, at around 2 years old. Right, so I schooled in that area. Many boys my age, you know, they had mums, aunties, granddads that knew or were related to some of the so-called greatest true crime gangsters of all time. We call them faces from way back in the day, right? So, as you see in the title, the reason why I believe nobody could ever have put it on Fred Forman in any kind of form or way. And I'm going to explain why on this, but we're going to go into a little bit of the history. So in Notting Hill, there were pubs over that way, Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill, the Zetland pub, right? The Wises, Dennis Wise, I knew Vicky Wise briefly, but never really knew her as in to talk to her. She used to go out with a friend of mine in about the 90s, that kind of stuff, right? The Wises bought the Bradport pub round about the time when, you know, certain faces were allegedly said to be visiting some of the pubs in this area. And they frequented what's the other one's name, man? Kenilworth's was a much frequented pub. Look, the Zetlands was like a family pub. And I don't know whether some of you lot from way back in the day will remember, there was no doorman needed on the pubs, minders or security, during that era. You wouldn't really get everyone in the Zetland at the same time, like all the faces. Look, let me break it down to you. Barrymurphy and Jonnyanlon couldn't stand the sight of each other. That age group that grew up with all of them and the sons and the daughters that were 11 years old that I know and still know today, say that every time Barrymurphy and Jonnyanlon used to meet, they just used to fight all the time. There's on record that I have that they had about 9 fights, okay? So being in the same pub together, you're asking me that question. I can't see it, nor can many others either, right? So the Zetland was the smallest pub out of them all, if you get what I mean. Nice little family atmosphere and that kind of thing. Regarding, what's his name again? Alan Mills, that's his name. Alan Mills, right, who I saw as a little boy, but don't know him, obviously. But obviously, I got people that was close to him. Him and Royshaw were meant to be, they used to say they were cousins. Unbelieving. That's what I said, but I don't think they was. I'm thinking that Royshaw was in Gartree at one stage, serving his sentence. I know that him and Freddy Forman was close. Royshaw and Freddy Forman. They were definitely close. And Royshaw respected Freddy Forman. Alan Mills, I love Freddy Foreman. Alan Mills, I thought, was from West London. I thought, and I think if Freddie was going out, he would have been the only person that he would have seen at that time. But that's another story. Look, the long and short of it, I forgot the geezer's name, the one that went with Princess Margaret. Johnny, what was his name again? The one that had the long thing and sadly died in, forgot his name, right? So remember, we done a video on him and he could have a right row. But weren't really an armed robber or anything like that. And he wasn't known for shooting people, right? Jonnyanlon could have a right row. I know in history some of the stories that I hear about Jonnyanlon. But Jonnyanlon, look at it this way. If you know Freddy Forman, brown bread Fred, right? If you was looking at someone that you knew that was attached to Freddy Forman in some kind of way, and you know that Freddy Forman might have a soft spot for him, otherwise they wouldn't really be around him, yeah? You would be thinking that, hold on, I'm not going to go because he's close to Freddy Forman. So I'm not going to go over there and go and step on Fred's toes. All right? Jonnyanlon was known for fighting. No history. And what's his name? The other one, I forgot his name at the moment because I'm just doing this off the top of my head. They never had no history for weapons. Blowing people away and taking their head clean off and all that. Freddy Forman allegedly did it, amongst other things, right? So Jonnyanlon wasn't nobody's fool, you know. He knew the levels. He was smart enough for that. And like I reiterate, that me in certain times, and I'm looking at him, I'm thinking I could rob him up, I'm thinking I could go, but he knows, what's his name, he knows Gary Tyler, he knows this one, he knows Roger, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, I can't really go over there because it's going to cause a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? You know some of those names. So I know that whether, I don't know what their relationship, how deep it is, but they're around them. It's a deterrent, mate. You ain't going to go over there. There's no one in that life that could have ever walked up to Freddy Forman and suggested, even though I suggest that a few of those guys might not have been scared of Freddy Forman, and yeah, respect you. But the respect is because you know, deep down, if you treaded on his toes way back in the day, that's just coming out and you're gone. And that's it. Let's not beat around the bloody bush here, right? I'm tired of listening to nonsense. Was there something else? I've got to put together. I've got a little bit more on the royshaw, these supposed fights and all that. I'm going to leave it for now, right? But many of you know it didn't work like that. And when people discover, people, yeah. I get what you all mean. Really? All right. I'll soon come back up.